up, people? It's your girl Adeola. A lot has happened since last week. Soldiers invaded the vicinity of Nnamdi Kanu and they shot one person.
This is security personnel who was shot by the Nigerian army.
So then, Biafrans were throwing stones at soldiers, allegedly in retaliation. Anyway, the army came out later to say that Biafrans were the first to attack them while they were parading their armored vehicles. They said that the throwing of stones that we saw in the previous video happened before they shot somebody. Now, they also shared pictures of a bleeding soldier and a civilian that the soldiers claimed that Biafrans attacked. Till now, we don't know who really attacked who first, because the army also invaded the National Union of Journalists office in Abia, destroying cameras and other devices of journalists. I'm still coming back to talk about that, by the way. Later on in another video, we saw Biafran police. You guys know that they now have their own security service. So we saw them pulling out in buses saying that they are going to protect Nnamdi Kanu.
This is a lion sport on their way to Mazi. Their leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, soon.
You don't have to show the bus struggling. That's sometimes you don't know when to be serious. This is a very serious issue. As I was saying, Nigerian army went back to Nnamdi Kanu's house with several trucks surrounding Kanu's house and placing him under house arrest. Now, the second day, we saw another video of soldiers beating Biafran members. Soldiers stripped them and forced them to lie in mud water.
Now, wow.
People are already saying that some of those in the video were dead. But before we go on, can I just say that whether you agree with the Biafra movement or not, under a democratic system of government, the Nigerian government has no right to deploy soldiers to invade Abia State or Kanu's home. It doesn't matter whether you agree with Kanu or not. It's in our constitution as a democratic system. If the government has issues with Kanu, the police are the ones supposed to handle the case and the courts, not soldiers. If police are not able to handle the case, then the government is supposed to get the permission of the National Assembly to declare a state of emergency before deploying soldiers. That's what the constitution says. Please make sure that you read the article by human rights lawyer Femi Falana. He explained it much better. And if you don't condemn what's happening with the soldiers invading Nnamdi Kanu's home just because you don't agree with Biafrans, if something like that should happen to you, don't expect others to condemn it. Whatever is wrong, regardless of whoever you support. Because why do we have the constitution if we would not follow it? And since our vice president is a lawyer, I don't understand. Is it that Buhari is not consulting his vice before ordering something like this? Or is it that Buhari is not listening to his vice president? I don't understand that. Right now, soldiers are supposed to be fighting Boko Haram, not invading Abia State. Instead, they shot a civilian, as you guys saw in that video. This is not right. It is absolutely not right. We are not in a military regime. The guy was not arrested or tried in court. They just shot him. And for them to also torture IPOB members like this without arresting them or trying them in court for any crime is absolutely not right. Soldiers have now been so empowered to the point where they are also attacking journalists. This is not right. You know the danger in all of this? The way the government is handling this whole Nnamdi Kanu thing. The danger in it is that we are all sitting on a keg of gunpowder and it can explode at any time. This thing can get out of hand. For example, there were reports that Igbos in River State started attacking Hausa people because they thought Nnamdi Kanu, their leader, had been killed. Now, if something like that should happen, don't you know that Hausas in the north may also start killing Igbos in the north? And not all Igbos want Biafra, by the way. So a lot of innocent people will die. And don't think that because you are not Hausa or Igbo that you will be spared. If war breaks out, a lot of innocent people will die regardless of wherever you are from. I don't know if you guys saw the video of armed Biafrans that were hunting for houses in buses. In the same video, we see that they've burned some things, like they already set a fire on a trailer. I've said this several times on this show that both parties need to act like matured adults. The government should address their sentiments. They say that they are being marginalized, so have a dialogue. Remember that when Niger Deltans were bombing pipelines, the vice president went to speak with them in person and they stopped bombing the pipelines. Buhari should eat some humble pie and meet with Nnamdi Kanu, because while we're focusing on Biafra, other groups are now springing up. Have you guys heard about Adeola's grandson? The guy is calling for Oduduwa Republic. He wants Yoruba people to secede from Nigeria. And once again, he's also calling for violence.
When we eventually take over the Nigerian Yoruba port from Hausa Fulani, we are going to do one thing, which is going to be very significant and it's going to be unique. We are going to pollute their water with chemical weapons. So,
what the heck?
We are going to contaminate their air with biological weapons.
What the heck? Seriously, can you imagine? The guy wants to contaminate the air and pollute the water with biological weapons. Now, which one be biological weapons now, for God's sake? You see what I'm saying? If the government can justify arresting Nnamdi Kanu or surrounding his house with soldiers, placing him under house arrest, torturing IPOB members, how come they did not arrest this one that wants to come with biological weapon? He's declaring war on Igbos and Hausas.
If Hausa Fulani soldiers and the Igbo soldier should kill any one member of our organization, we are going to contaminate their air.
By the way, my brother, it is air, not here.
We are going to contaminate their air.
You don't have to play it again. He heard me. It's air. Sure, you understand?
They are here. They are here.
Anyway, now let me talk to Biafrans. And I know you won't like this, but we have to talk about it. Especially when I'm seeing a lot of young, innocent people suffering, being tortured, and a lot of them buying into the whole idea of it's either Biafra or death. Personally, I think that instead of saying that you want your own country because you are being marginalized, I think that it's always good to start by making your leaders accountable. It's not as if the government imposed Hausa leaders or Yoruba leaders on you. Your governors are Igbo, are they not? The senators representing you, they are Igbos. You voted for them. If Igbo land is not being developed, if it's being marginalized, why not hold your leaders or your representatives accountable and make them speak for you at the national level? One of the things that a lot of Biafrans are saying is that sometimes the people that they want to represent them in government are not the ones there that the government is imposing, even though these people are also Igbo, that the government is imposing their own people on them. I think the people should also sponsor their own candidate and get the candidate there, whoever would represent them at the national level and represent their own interests. And if that is not working, and then you can resort to other peaceful means, not instigating violence or promoting hate speeches. All I'm saying is that instead of instigating violence because you want to secede, I was thinking that Nnamdi Kanu would have started by doing something to develop, even if it's his hometown. You know what I'm saying? He was doing fundraising online for years. The question is, what did he do with all the money to help his people? Also, I don't know, and this is just a suggestion, an observation. You are free to do whatever you want, but I honestly don't know if you can get what you actually want by idolizing somebody. You don't have to put up this photo. I already said last week that the man was doing push-up when Nnamdi Kanu was walking by. Get out. But besides the fact that the man talks to his followers anyhow.
If you are attending a Yoruba church, you should be ashamed of yourself. Anybody attending a Pentecostal church with a Yoruba pastor is an idiot, a complete fool, an imbecile. They are very, very foolish. If your pastor is Yoruba, you are not fit to be a human being.
You don't have to play that, by the way. They know what I'm talking about. Because, it worries me. It's not just the fact that he talks to them anyhow, but some people now worship Nnamdi Kanu. I'm not saying that you shouldn't make him a leader, but there's a danger to that. How do you hold him accountable as well? Even little children and adults now call him a savior. Some people are saying that he's bigger than Jesus. Holy, 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 holy. Now, these same kids in the video, they already bought into the ideology that it's either Nigeria divides or that they are willing to die.
You must stand firm for our enemy. That's why I hold to the Biafra. I will die in the process. There will be no retreat, No surrender, no distraction, and no giving up.
These are kids. Okay, that scares me when I see something like that. Even if you get Biafra and you become your own country and you are already idolizing this man, how would you hold him accountable as well? Meanwhile, the late Ojukwu, who headed the Biafra movement in the 60s, already said that there is no need for another Biafra because millions of innocent people died at that time, and he knew that more people would die again if it happens again.
A lot of people will say, but you were leading the first one. Yes, I led the first one. I don't think a second one is necessary. We should have learned from that first one. Otherwise, the dead would have been to no avail.
So why is it okay for somebody to risk the lives of innocent, probably unemployed young people? So right now, the Nigerian military has labeled IPOB, the indigenous people of Biafra, as a terrorist group. What do you think? Should they be labeled as terrorists or not? Keep in mind, a lot of people are talking about the fact that the herdsmen that have killed hundreds of people were never labeled as terrorists. So let me know what you think about IPOB being labeled as a terrorist group. Finally, racism is the main problem in Nigeria. We call it tribalism, but Nigerians are very racist to other ethnic groups. Even though no one chose to be Hausa, no one chose to be Igbo, no one chose to be Yoruba or any other ethnicity that you are from, you didn't choose it. It was just an accident. Until we learn to see each other as just one human race. There's only one human race. That's why we all have the same color of blood. Until we learn to see each other as human beings, we can't get anywhere and we can't avoid something like this. And not just that, until our government in Nigeria represents every ethnicity and stop nepotism, develops all parts of the country, not just the north or just the east or just the west, until everybody feels equally represented and not marginalized, we can't avoid conflicts like this. So we really have a lot of work to do. You guys know I don't know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. Moving on to Togo, it's been real. The people of Togo have intensified their protest, demanding an end to the 50-year rule of Nyasigbe's family. You guys know that the father was president for 38 years, the son has been president now for 12 years, and he is presently in his third term by fire by force because he forced himself on the people. So now they are saying enough is enough, and they are demanding that the president must step down by fire by force after hundreds of thousands of Togolese protested in August. Can you guys believe that in retaliation the government sponsored their own protest? I'm telling you, ministers, judges, including the president of the Supreme Court, were on the streets protesting in support of the government, and big politicians, they were giving out money to entice people to join them in the protest. But of course we know why they were doing it. It's because they were trying to protect their own interests. So unfortunately for them, the real protest overshadowed the paid protest. In retaliation, the government shut down the internet in Togo for 6 days so that activists would not be able to share pictures and videos of the brutality going on. They also shut down text messages for 2 days, and it's all to frustrate protesters. Don't forget that the government already shut down a private radio station and a private TV station some months ago. Hundreds of thousands of Togolese protested last week for 2 days in a row. In fact, they slept at the protest center. People brought mats, they brought mattresses, and they slept on the field. Some of them brought cooking pots and stove, and they cooked right there, saying that they would not leave until Nyasigbe steps down. I'm telling you, they mean business. Unfortunately, after they slept in the dead of the night, can you guys believe what the government did after the second day? First of all, they shut down electricity completely. And then soldiers and police, they started firing tear gas. Can you guys imagine? In the middle of the night, when people were already sleeping. Of course, everybody started running. More than 200 people were arrested that night. A lot of them were injured. 2 people died. And they later released 80 people. However, since that day, police have been going from door to door, from house to house, throwing tear gas into people's homes and then dragging them out to beat them on the street. What what I don't understand is why till now other African leaders have not condemned what the government of Togo is doing, especially the police brutality going on. They didn't even release a statement. Former Nigerian President Obasanjo also played safe when they interviewed him. Instead of Obasanjo to say that the president of Togo should step down, he said that the man should introduce term limits. And the people of Togo are like, well, he's already in his third term. What do you mean term limit? And where is ECOWAS while all of this is happening? How is it possible that ECOWAS has not said anything about this? Oh, wait a minute, what am I talking about? The man is the chairman of ECOWAS, is he not? Yeah, the president of Togo is the chairman of ECOWAS. Charity begins from home. How can ECOWAS intervene when the man is their chairman? And unfortunately for the people of Togo, the president of ECOWAS Commission is his brother-in-law. The man is from Benin and he's married to Yansigbe's sister. So his brother-in-law is the president of ECOWAS Commission. So Togolese people are fighting family dominance at home and at ECOWAS. For now, we are hearing that the president and his officials are now emptying the coffer, just like Yaya Jammeh did before he left Gambia. If you are wondering how you can help the people of Togo, put pressure on ECOWAS and African leaders in democratic countries to condemn what Yansigbe is doing in Togo, to condemn the police brutality. We'll keep you guys posted in terms of the development in Togo. You guys not know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. So before I leave, I'd like to give a huge shout out to a Nigerian lady by the name Folafoluwa Ogini, who graduated as the best student at the University of Hertfordshire in UK with a perfect GPA of 5.0. What, girl? We are so proud of you, and she is so beautiful. Y'all like, shut up, girl. You look so fancy. Anyway, we're so proud of her for representing. This girl graduated with a law degree. By the way, she was the overall best student when she finished her WAEC in 2012 in Nigeria, and she was studying at Obafemi Awolowo University. But because of strike, when the girl has been sitting home because of strike, this girl decided to go to UK, and look at how she did. She did so well with 5.0. I'm just saying, please, Nigerian government, fix our education. It's so sad, it breaks my heart that the Nigerian education is no longer reliable. You only know when you enroll, you only know when you start, you never know when you will graduate. It's so sad. It's not like that in other parts of the world. You see, Omolomo was facing strike. If not that she has option to go to UK. You know how many people don't have option to go and study abroad? It's so heartbreaking, but we are very proud of her. Congratulations. You guys not know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. Alright y'all, it's been real and I'm keeping it real right up in here. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Until next week, I must see y'all later. Peace out.
Welcome to Forsville Luxury Hotel. At Forsville Luxury Hotel, we offer excellent service. Our rooms have all the necessary facilities to make your stay comfortable and memorable. You will also have access to internet service, breakfast, 24-hour power supply, full air condition, free international calls, free tire pumping service, and free car battery charge. So what are you waiting for? Quickly visit Forsville Luxury Hotel. We are located at #1 Adeola Bamishile off Raji Rasaki Road, First Estate, Amuwo, Odofinfe Start, Lagos. For more information or reservation, please call us on 080-7578-7135 or 080-9990-0601. You can also take advantage of our online ongoing promo at www.forsvillehotel.com to make your reservation and payment for your favorite room, which attracts a discount rate. Please note, rooms are reserved based on first come, first serve. Forsville Luxury Hotel. Experience the home of comfort. They come.